This is a 10-minute tutorial from the AP Computer Science curriculum, and this one is on the instance of operator. So let's have a look at this operator. Okay, let's look at some other operators in Java. We have the addition operator, the subtraction operator, and today this one is going to be about the instance of operator. The instance of operator is written with all small letters, and there's a couple of reasons for that. It's not written this way. It's not written with a capital I because that would be a class name and it's not a class. And it's not written this way with a capital O. This is typically how we write variables in Java. Here, this is a keyword in Java and it's written in all small letters, and it's a binary operator. So let's look at this for a second. Binary operator takes two operands, and here the first operand, which is on the left, has to refer to an object variable. Okay, and the operand on the right has to refer to a class name. Okay, so let's take a look at this instance of operator in action. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to create two classes here. I'm going to create a superclass called dog, and then I'm going to create a subclass called beagle. Okay, a subclass called beagle. And beagle is going to inherit from dog. It's going to extend dog. Okay, so let's take a look at that in Eclipse here. Here I've created this public class called dog. There's no code for dog. We're not going to need any code here in our dog and beagle classes for our instance of demo. And here I've created a separate file with a class called beagle, which extends dog. So I'm basically telling the compiler that beagle is going to inherit from dog. Now let's take a look at this instance of demo. And what I want you to focus on right now is I've created these two object variables. I've said dog Fido equals new dog and beagle Snoopy equals new beagle. Okay, and now I've got this if statement here. It says if Fido instance of dog, print Fido as an instance of dog. So let's just run this. I'll clear my console here and I'll run this program, and sure enough it prints Fido is an instance of dog. Okay, so what it's telling us is that this instance of operator is returning true. It's a Boolean operator, and it's telling us that this Boolean expression right here in the parentheses is returning true, and so this print statement is indeed printing. Okay, and that makes sense because Fido is an object variable and dog is a class, and since Fido is an instance of dog, this statement is returning true. Now let's look at the next one. The next one is also pretty easy. It says, is Snoopy an instance of beagle? Okay, we've already declared Snoopy to be an instance of beagle here. So this is going to work just like Fido instance of dog. So if I run this now, I see that Snoopy is indeed an instance of beagle. Okay, now the next one's a little bit trickier. Oops, didn't want to do that. Come back here. Okay, it says if Snoopy instance of dog, print Snoopy is an instance of dog. So the question is now, we know that Snoopy is a beagle, but is Snoopy also a dog? Now, if we just go back and look at our inheritance hierarchy here, we say if Snoopy is an instance of this class, but this class inherits from dog, beagles are dogs, so we would probably expect then that Snoopy should be an instance of dog. So let's just try that. And sure enough, this Boolean expression is also true. It says Snoopy is an instance of dog. Okay, now is where students start to get into some trouble. Let's look at another one. Here it says, is Fido an instance of beagle? Is Fido an instance of beagle? Okay, this one actually is not one of the hard ones I was thinking of here. This one is pretty easy. So I see that Fido here is a dog, but Fido is not a beagle. So if I run this, it's not going to print that Fido is an instance of beagle. That one is actually pretty easy. This next one here is the one that's the troublemaker. Let's look at it here for a second. It says, if beagle instance of dog. Now looking at this, you might say that beagle is a dog, and that's true. But is the beagle an instance of a dog? recall that when I started out this conversation about instance of, I said you have to have an object variable on the left and a class on the right. Here, I do have a class on the right, but I don't have an object variable on the left. What I have is another class name. And so you see this little X in Eclipse here. It's telling me this line, it's not even going to compile. Okay, so if I try and run this, see, it's not going to compile. Because Beagle in this code is not a variable, an object variable. It's a class name. So this will not compile. Okay, so this line is not any good. I'm going to take that line out. Now I'll give you one more that tends to trip up students here. Let's say I have int x, so I have x as an integer. And I say if x instance of int. Okay, and if that's true, I'm going to print system out println x is an instance of int. And on the face of it, you might think that that one should return true. But once again, I've got an x here, suggesting that this will not compile. And the reason it won't compile, there are actually two compiler errors here. The first is that int is not a class name. Int is a primitive. You know that because the I is smaller case here on int, and it's showing you it's not a class name. Likewise, x is not an object variable. X is not an object variable. X is an instance of a primitive. So this will not compile. See, if I try to compile it, it's not going to compile. Okay? So keep in mind that when you're using the instance of operator, and that's my own Fido in the background, you can hear her. Fido has to be an object variable, and the one on the right of instance of has to be a class name.